through line in the questioning, and at one point, Dr. Tufts even pushes back.
No sleep last night, falls asleep after 40 minutes, heart racing, severe anxiety, worrying about kids, baby, sleep, yawns but not drowsy, not hyper, pressured speech.
What was that? Not hyper what?
Not hyper, not pressured speech is what I meant. I know it doesn't say not, but that is exactly what I meant.
Wait, when did you see this that you noticed that it did not?
No sleep last night, falls asleep after 40 minutes, heart racing, severe anxiety, worrying about kids, baby, sleep, yawns, but not drowsy, not hyper-pressured speech. Then the correction. I know it doesn't say not, but that is exactly what I meant. And then the line that stopped the courtroom. I don't care what it says. I know what I meant. That sentence is the entire case, not what the record shows, not what was written down, what one doctor believed she meant.
With the trauma of the neck.
And what were those?
So on her neck, she had a ligature furrow.
As the testimony continues, you can literally hear Lindsay breaking down.
Think of a medical chart entry written in a hurry. A single word missing. A single negation that was supposed to be there, but never made it onto the page. Now imagine that missing word is the difference between a patient sounding psychotic and a patient sounding stable. That is the gap this trial keeps walking over.
And what about injuries?
All right, counsel could...
Lindsay Clancy breaking down multiple times in the courtroom.
Did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty, to medical certainty, as the cause of death of Cora?
Yes.
And what was that?
Asphyxia.
Meanwhile, bombshell moments from Lindsay's former prescriber when things get tense on cross-exam.
I know it doesn't.
The chart said what it said. The doctor says it meant something else. And 3 children are dead. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to True Crime Court, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence.
The fact that the very first time that Lindsay's psychiatrist who prescribed her all of these medications saw her in person was on Friday in court. That is right. All of their appointments, 14 appointments, were done in telehealth.
The central figure in this week's testimony is Dr. Jennifer Tufts. She was Lindsay Clancy's psychiatrist. She prescribed the medications. She managed the treatment. And she never once saw her patient in person until she walked into a courtroom.
Yes.
Until you came in this courtroom Friday, you never saw this woman in person, did you?
Correct.
And did you give her a hug? Oh, no, you're on telemedicine, so you couldn't give her a hug, could you?
14 appointments. Every single one by telemedicine. No physical examination. No in-person observation. The defense attorney asked the question that cut through the entire defense of her care. Until you came in this courtroom Friday, you never saw this woman in person, did you? The answer was one word. Correct.
Were you ever concerned about her mental health as a person?
Absolutely.
She was crying. She told you symptoms that she couldn't get out of bed. Isn't that right?
At one time she said it was difficult to get out of bed.
Oh, difficult to get out. Why was it difficult for Lindsay Clancy to get out of bed?
Because she was very depressed.
And did you give her a hug? Oh, no, you're on telemedicine, so you couldn't give her a hug, could you? You didn't have any chance to even look at her in person, did you?
And when pressed on whether she ever hugged her patient or even had the chance to observe her closely, the doctor said no. Telemedicine made it impossible. The defense then pointed out the human reality. This woman was crying, saying she could not get out of bed, and the response was clinical distance. Not neglect, according to the doctor. Just the limits of a video screen.
So you were practicing as a psychiatrist for a little more than a month.
I was practicing independently with my full credentials for about a month, but the training is just immense that goes on before that.
Now, in August of 22, up until when you saw Lindsay, how many patients in that month or so had you treated for postpartum psychosis?
How many patients in a month? Up until that
Yeah,
month?
I'm asking you about when you started working in August of 22 for Astor, and you are now on your own as an employee. How many patients had you treated before you saw Lindsay Clancy for postpartum postpartum psychosis.
But the cross-examination went further. Dr. Tufts had been board certified in August 2022. She saw Lindsay Clancy for the first time in September 2022. That is roughly 1 month of independent practice. The defense asked how many postpartum psychosis patients she had treated in that time. Her answer, none, not one. Because, as she said, it is a very rare disorder.
Many people do hear voices.
How about postpartum depression? How many people in that month or so before you met Lindsay did you treat for postpartum depression?
In the span of 1 month, it's really hard to pinpoint that.
And yet, postpartum psychosis is exactly the condition the defense says Lindsay Clancy was suffering from. A condition so rare that a brand new psychiatrist had never treated a single case before. But she was the one managing the medications. The paperwork already knew.
22.
Suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. There's a black box warning, Zoloft, along with other SSRIs, right?
Under
Yes
age,
or no?
for children and adults younger than Lindsay.
Doctor, I apologize. Can you just listen to my question and answer it yes or no? Is there a black box warning on Zoloft?
Yes,
Okay. And a black box warning is required or prescribed by what? The FDA?
probably.
Probably. And it basically warns that, especially with young people or young adults.
Then came the Zoloft. Dr. Tufts prescribed it in the fall of 2022. The defense brought up the black box warning, the FDA warning that says this medication may cause suicidal or homicidal ideation in young adults. Dr. Tufts acknowledged the warning existed. She prescribed it anyway.
When you were going over the symptomology or when you were going over the side effects of Zoloft, one of the side effects of Zoloft is, and I quote, severe trouble sleeping, right?
Yes.
Did you tell her that?
Well, insomnia is listed as a side effect.
No. You already said yes, you know it. Just, did you tell her that Zoloft has a side effect of giving the patient severe trouble sleeping? That's all.
So I didn't use the word severe because it typically doesn't cause severe trouble sleeping, but I thought you were referring to when she told me that she did have severe trouble sleeping,
Well,
and that
that's
was
what
true.
she told you, right? That she had severe trouble sleeping, right?
She told me, yes.
And you know that one of the side effects of Zoloft is, let's say, trouble sleeping. You know that, right?
Yes.
Your answer is yes. The jury has to be able to hear you.
Yes.
And why would you prescribe Zoloft to a young woman who's postpartum, who's coming to you with anxiety, who's telling you she can't sleep, she's got all of these symptoms, and you prescribe a medication that would have a side effect of trouble sleeping?
The defense asked about the side effects, specifically severe trouble sleeping. Lindsay Clancy had already told the doctor she could not sleep. She was panicking. She was anxious. And the medication she was given had a known side effect of insomnia. The doctor said it was a first-line treatment. The defense asked, says who? The answer, the general consensus.
Did she tell you what the side effects were after she had gossip?
She did. I did not list them because,
Excuse me, that means you didn't write it down?
yes.
So what is it, your memory that we'll go by that, right?
Sorry?
We'll go by your memory?
Go by my memory about what? I don't recall exactly which side effects she said, but I recall that they were some of the very common ones, the ones that are temporary.
Hold on. You're telling this jury that you don't recall what the side effects were that she told you, but your memory is that they were general, common? Is that what you're saying?
Then the notes became the story. Dr. Tufts did not write down the side effects Lindsay reported. She said she did not recall exactly which ones, but she remembered they were common. Temporary. The defense pressed, you are telling this jury you don't recall what she said, but your memory is that it was fine. That is the gap between what is documented and what is assumed.
When Lindsay expressed suicidal ideations, Dr. Tufts testified she still didn't recommend seeing Lindsay in person.
And on December 1st is when she told you, again, that she was close to having suicidal ideation, feeling hopeless. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Now, on the interval history, on that date, you indicated that she can't sleep, she's panicking, she had worse depression, intrusive thoughts, she was numb, nothing mattered, I feel like I'm going to die.
And then the record showed something darker. On December 1st, Lindsay Clancy reported feeling close to suicidal ideation, feeling hopeless. She said, "I feel like I'm going to die." She said nothing mattered. She was numb. The doctor's response, according to her own testimony, was to offer hope and mention treatment programs. No in-person visit. No emergency intervention.
What did you do? You got a woman that's telling you that she's hopeless. She doesn't care if she dies. She can't sleep. What did you do to validate on your therapy?
Well, I told her that this was something that we could address, that there was hope, that there were treatments, and there are different types of treatment programs that are more supportive, like partial hospitalization programs. So she knew that she still had options and a reason to hope.
Did you ever suggest to her that maybe you ought to come in and see me rather than talk on the computer?
Talking with her over the video did not seem like an issue.
The defense asked if she ever suggested Lindsay come in to see her in person rather than talk on a computer. The doctor said no. She did not see an issue with video appointments. She did not believe she was missing anything. The woman who said she felt like she was going to die was not asked to come into the office. The paperwork already knew.
You're a defendant in a very large lawsuit, are you not?
Yes.
You wouldn't happen to be represented by an attorney, would you?
I am.
And the fact that you have an attorney is your right under the Constitution. It doesn't mean that you're guilty of anything, right?
Right.
Okay. And you know that the outcome of this case is very, very major to the outcome of your lawsuit. Oh.
I don't actually know that.
So you understand that if, in fact, it's determined that you advertised as an expert in postpartum and in postpartum psychiatry, and you had a month experience plus a residency, would you consider that to be negligent or misrepresentation?
There is another reason this testimony matters. Dr. Tufts is a defendant in a civil lawsuit, a medical malpractice lawsuit filed by Lindsay Clancy herself. The defense brought it up directly. "You are a defendant in a very large lawsuit, are you not?" The doctor said yes. She has an attorney. The outcome of the criminal trial, the defense suggested, could affect the civil case. Dr. Tufts said she did not know that, but the jury heard it.
Your Honor, basically, as the motion speaks for itself, there is a woman, her name is Emily Thorndike, who's a LACSW here in Massachusetts. She owns and is an independent operator of her own clinical social work establishment called Wise Mind Therapy.
That's this woman who made a TikTok a few weeks back. She used to work at McLean, the medical facility Lindsay Clancy stayed at in late 2022 and early 2023.
When a patient is admitted to the unit, they are specifically assigned two clinicians. One is a psychiatrist, and the second is the social worker. You are literally told as a patient, this is your treatment team. This is your doctor. This is your social worker. With that being said, legally, every patient needs to be seen at least once a day by a doctor. So on the weekends and on the holidays, when the physicians in charge, the regular physicians who are working there, are off because they work weekday hours, On the weekends and on holidays, the patients still need to be seen by a doctor. How that works is that there is one doctor who comes on the weekend and holidays, and he or she sees every single patient on the unit, okay? And if you think about it, there's a reason that the doctors who are there during the week are only assigned 4 to 5 patients, because you cannot spend a long amount of time as a doctor with 23 different patients.
Last week, the defense made it known they want to call Emily as a witness. Their motion reads in part, Ms. Thorndike literally worked the unit that Lindsay Clancy was presented to on New Year's 2022-2023. Ms. Thorndike would testify based solely upon her firsthand observations and 8 years of experience while employed at McLean Hospital's short-term unit between 2014 and 2021.
And then the case took a turn no one expected. A TikToker named Emily Thorndike, a licensed clinical social worker. She worked at McLean Hospital for nearly 8 years, the same unit where Lindsay Clancy was treated. She posted a video saying the prosecution was misrepresenting what care actually looked like there. The defense wants her to testify.
Her involvement in this case came about after one of the prosecutors, I don't recall which, made it out on direct examination that McLean is some kind of a 5-star institution where the doctors, the psychiatrists, the psychotherapists, the counselors were all banging into each other in the hallway trying to interview Ms. Clancy, who was just blithely
Her claim is specific. She says patients on that unit were not seen every single day by a psychiatrist, especially on weekends and holidays. Lindsay was admitted on New Year's Day, a holiday. The care she received, according to Thorndike, was not what the prosecution described. It was not a 5-star institution with doctors bumping into each other in the hallway. It was understaffed, and the records may not show that.
She met with a clinician virtually and was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment due to not having any suicidal ideation plan.
So if she said, in addition to the fact that she's been in counseling and therapy and seeing psychiatrists and on medications for the past 3 months or whatever the period ultimately would be, and that she wanted to kill herself, didn't want to be here, couldn't care if she died, they told her because she didn't have a plan that they couldn't help her?
Correct.
Did they, to your knowledge, make any recommendations? Or did they recommended that she attend a day program?
Yes.
All right. And that person from Aspire then said he would send her patient resources, right?
Correct.
But nothing ever happened. He never sent her any. You did, but he never sent her any patient resources.
The defense also revealed that Lindsay called a suicide hotline. She said she wanted to kill herself. She said she could not care if she died. The clinician on the phone told her she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment because she did not have a specific plan. No plan, no help. And then the promised follow-up resources never arrived.
Pathologists discussed Cora and Dawson's autopsy findings.
And did you perform an autopsy on Cora Clancy on January 25th, 2023?
Yes.
And did you follow that same process with Cora Clancy?
Yes. And then I noted evidence of trauma of the neck with associated injuries of her head and minor injuries of her right arm and of her legs as well.
And in terms of the injuries that you observed, evidence of trauma to her neck, were there also injuries to her face and neck area that seemed to go along with the trauma to her neck?
Yes, there were findings of the head that were associated with the trauma of the neck.
And what were those?
So on her neck, she had a ligature furrow.
As the testimony continues, you can literally hear Lindsay breaking down.
So again, the furrow is a ligature is when you have external compression by an object on the neck, and a furrow is simply a pattern of injury that occurs beneath it. It can be an imprint, it could be a pattern, or it could be more developed types of injuries such as bruising or abrasions.
And what about injuries?
By midweek, the courtroom broke down. A forensic pathologist described the autopsies of 5-year-old Cora and 3-year-old Dawson. The ligature furrow, the trauma to the neck. Lindsay Clancy cried audibly in court. She said, "I can't do it." The judge called a recess. Jurors were seen crying. This is the cost on the other side of the missing word in the chart.
When you're looking on the target's phone, and out of this whole courtroom, the target would be Lindsay Clancy, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you had access to her phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And you all went into it with a search warrant, right?
Yes, sir.
And you were looking for different topics, such as suicide, drugs, killing kids, I imagine, to investigate, right? You had buzzwords.
Yes, sir.
And did you come across, for example, a search that indicates carotid artery?
I don't recall.
Did you come across a search on Safari, how to slit your throat to die?
I don't recall.
Did you come across a search, can you turn airbags off on Kia Sorento?
I don't recall.
Did you know that she had a Kia Sorento?
I did not.
Meaning, is it possible the searches were made by Patrick rather than Lindsay?
Then Thursday brought a new question. A state police investigator testified about searches on Lindsay's phone. The defense asked about searches for how to slit your throat to die, how to turn airbags off in a Kia Sorento. The investigator said he did not recall. The defense then asked the question no one had asked before: is it possible those searches were made by Patrick Clancy, not Lindsay? The investigator said he could not confirm. The phone belonged to Lindsay, but who typed the words?
Well, when you wrote this, you did not say not pressured speech. You said in the medical record, pressured speech, right?
No.
Does it say that?
Yeah, the word is, the word not is right before not hyper, comma, pressured.
All of it comes back to the same failure. A record that does not say what the doctor meant. A treatment system that never saw the patient. A hotline that required a plan before offering help. And a set of documents that, if read carefully, show every step where someone chose not to look closer. The paperwork already knew.
Oh my God, this case is one of those ones that I just can't stop thinking about. I literally had a dream about it last night. It's everywhere. And I think so many people relate to it. It triggers such crazy emotions from both sides, whether people believe she is a murderer or whether they believe it was a psychotic break. I mean, obviously it's going to be up to the jury to decide Lindsay Clancy's fate, and we're going to keep following it until that moment. Elena True Crime, thank you for coming on Scandal with us, and we'd love to have you back on to talk even more in the future.
Thank you. I'll come on anytime.
We're going to continue to follow this case and bring you the latest updates right here on Scandal. And for complete live coverage of this trial, make sure to tune into Law and Crime, where we're streaming with gavel-to-gavel coverage. And that is where today's episode of Scandal leaves us for now. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, or connect with me on social,
go read the 784-page civil lawsuit filed by Lindsay Clancy. Read the sections on polypharmacy and multiple prescribers. Then ask yourself one question in the comments: at what point does a system of checkboxes and telemedicine screens stop being medical care? If this case matters to you, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for True Crime Court. Because the evidence never stops talking.